Today we're going to be going over the 5 most common quarterback mistakes. Now the first mistake that quarterbacks will make is that when they're in the pocket, they have a target, they will step to the target, and that promotes this very long stride. So guys, if you're in the pocket and you're here and you take this really long baseball type stride, what ends up happening is that your feet are insanely wide outside of your frame, so it's hard for you to get any type of hip rotation, and our hips is where I generate power as a quarterback. But also, the longer it takes for your front foot to get down, the slower your release is going to be, because you physically can't throw the ball without your front foot being down. So the longer process of it getting down makes your release a lot slower. So an easy trigger phrase that you could think about as a quarterback if you make that mistake is think step down. I'm in a base, pretend you're standing in a big hula hoop, you got a guy running a post, I want to step down. I'm stepping towards the target, stepping down, because the faster that foot gets down, faster your hips fire through, and the faster the arm comes through, making a quicker release. Now before we get into that second mistake, fellas, if you are a quarterback and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches in 2025, we are going to be coming out to 15 different cities across the country for 2-day long QB and wide receiver camps. So guys, check out that very first link in the description below. We are going to be coming out to San Francisco, California, Orlando, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Charlotte, North Carolina, Austin, Texas, Chicago, Illinois, Seattle, Washington, Las Vegas, Nevada, Newark, New Jersey, Birmingham, Alabama, Houston, Texas, Boston, Massachusetts, Columbus, Ohio, Boise, Idaho, and Los Angeles, California. So guys, if you're local to any one of those cities or would like to travel to one of those cities to work with us, check out that very first link in the description below. Again, let's get back to this video. Now the second mistake that quarterbacks will make is spreading open with their shoulders same time their front foot gets down. Now, reason why that's a problem, we'll explain that. Let's start with where quarterbacks get power first, right? So as a quarterback, your power, like we mentioned, comes from your hips, but it's not so much your hips. It's not just like your hips need to rotate. Your hips need to rotate at a specific time of your throwing sequence. There's a sequence of events on every single throw, and the sequence goes like this. You got to get into a base where your weight is loaded onto your back leg. Your front stride gets down. Then when your front stride is down, after the foot gets down, the hips fire through, and then your shoulders and the ball come through after. When that hip goes through before the shoulder, before the elbow, before the ball, that like whipping effect is something called torque, and torque is where we get our power. So it's not just hips, it's about when the hips fire through. So this is where quarterbacks go wrong. When their front foot gets down, they will spread open. Their front shoulder opens up same time their foot gets down. So the shoulder and their hip are opening at the exact same time. So when that happens, you have an over rotation. Your hip is going this way, your shoulder's going this way, and that can make your arm fly outside of your frame, causing you to miss left and right. So what do we want to do? When you take a step to the target, you want your front shoulder to slightly rotate back, kind of like a baseball swing, right? And you want to keep weight loaded onto your back leg. Try to keep your shin as straight as possible when the foot gets down, because that shin staying straight will allow you to rotate back. A lot of guys try to rotate back, but their shin caves and they physically can't do it. So keep your shin straight, you step, shoulder rotates, so now the hips can fire through before. That will cause your shoulders to stay a little bit more level to the target. Your release point can be a touch higher, not wide open and way out to the side. Now the next mistake that quarterbacks will make is taking something called a bike kickstand drop. So if you guys have ever seen a bike kickstand, it looks like one side's obviously longer than the other, and then there's a short side, right? It's kind of like uneven in a sense. A lot of quarterbacks, when they drop back, they're throwing off their third step, quick game footwork, 1-step drop, or even a 5-step and throw drop. What they will do is they will drop back, set, go, first step of their drop, crossover 2, land 3, and their base will look like a bike kickstand. So when all of your weight is forward like this, you guys, what's the problem? Power comes from my hips, but also my back leg. I have to transfer weight to my front foot. If my weight's already transferred, I got nothing off of my back leg. I'm essentially just throwing this thing all arm. So what we want to do is we want to be the opposite. We want to have 70% of my weight onto my back leg on my third step. Almost treat it like you're balancing on one foot, and I'll explain why. So when you drop back, if you're 1, 2, 3, now my weight's back, what I can do is I can keep it there for a second. I can stride to the target like the last example we talked about. I can keep my shin straight because it got straight on my drop. My shoulders can go back and my hips can lead through. But I can't do any of that if I land with a ton of weight on my front foot. I take a step, my shins cave, my shoulders can't delay, and now I'm over rotating because lack of weight on my back foot. Now the next mistake that quarterbacks will make leads to a decrease in arm strength. So let's say I'm throwing like a deep fade ball on the left over here. I take a 3-step drop. When I get to the top of the drop, it's okay if you have a little bit of that bike kickstand base that we talked about, because you're going to be hitching up into this throw. But this is the mistake quarterbacks will make. They'll get to the top of this drop, and when they take a hitch, they won't replace their feet. They'll hitch up and they leave a ton of weight onto their front side. So then that's the same exact problem as that bike kickstand analogy that we were using in the last clip. So what we gotta do, guys, is anytime that I'm hitching up, you take a drop back. Let's say you're a right-handed quarterback, weight's on your left foot. You gotta take your right foot moves first, and it replaces the left foot. And when that right foot replaces, you rock your shoulders back. So now my weight's back, I have my shoulders arched, and I could drive up and over to get that ball to finish over the top. Don't be that guy that takes a 3-step drop and goes left, right on your hitch and leaves all this weight forward. We move with the right foot first, and we replace that front foot, get a little pop going with your feet as well, so we get to that proper deep ball form. Now, fellas, if you're a quarterback and you would like some different drills you can do to work on the different concepts we've covered in this video so far, check out that second link in the description below for our Elite Quarterback Training Package. What you'll get access to is 2 months of daily quarterback on-field workout drills. We break down everything like Monday you're doing this, Tuesday you're doing that. It's a full schedule for 2 months, give you the exact sets and reps and a video example of each drill we give you. So guys, if that's of interest to you, check out that second link in the description below. Let's get back to this video. Now, the next mistake that quarterbacks will make is trying to throw a touch pass with level shoulders. So like, let's say for example, I gotta throw a corner route, and let's say it's man coverage. A lot of quarterbacks will keep their shoulders nice and level. They'll take a step to the target and they try to just push this ball up to get some touch on this thing. Guys, we have to change the plane that I am throwing on when I'm trying to throw a touch or on a deep pass. So like if I'm throwing this touch corner ball, I gotta have weight on my back leg, obviously, because that allows this, but I need a slight arc of my shoulders so I can actually drive up and over. I never want to be that guy that has level shoulders and tries to push the ball up, as that's what can cause that nose to never turn over. It gives you a sideways or upward spin on those touch passes. So guys, make sure when you're throwing with some touch, slight arc of the shoulder, we go back, slow the rotation down a little bit, and snap that wrist up, over, and top.